Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Tajendra Sharma, Professor, Department of Commerce, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. Today, we are going to discuss the topic leadership style in Japan and US. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept of leadership style, understand leadership in international context, and do a comparison of leadership style in Japan and US companies. Students, we all know that human resources are the most important resource of an organization. Proper utilization of human resources is very essential for the effective functioning as well as success of an organization. For this purpose, there should be proper coordination and cooperation between the management and the employees. Leadership is the most effective method of motivating the people in the organization. Through effective leadership, managers guide and influence the actions of an employee. Leaders help a group to achieve its goals with the maximum utilization of their capabilities. There are different techniques or styles which are adopted by the people for leadership. These styles help the managers to control over the employees and also assist them in their decision making processes. Although there are many ways to classify the leadership styles, but the three major categories of leadership styles are firstly the autocratic, the secondly the democratic, and thirdly the laissez-faire style. There are subcategories under the democratic style. The democratic style can be either paternalistic or consultative or persuasive democratic style. Autocratic or authoritarian leadership style. An autocratic leader makes all the decisions himself and centralizes the power. An autocratic leader makes the decisions unilaterally and doesn't consider the need of the subordinates. As a result, the decisions will reflect the beliefs and attitudes of the leader. On the other hand, a strong and competent subordinates may scrapple because of the limits on decision making freedom. The organizational will get limited initiatives from these subordinates, and shifts and exits amongst the best subordinates will be very high. Further, autocratic leadership style can be paternalistic, conservative, consultative, and persuasive. Students, there are three types of the autocratic leadership style. One is the paternalistic leadership style, second is the consultative leadership style, and third is the persuasive leadership style. Let us try to study each one of them in little more detail. Paternalistic management style. The paternalistic leadership style is closely associated to the autocratic style. In this, the individual can be tyrannical when required. Although the ultimate decision-making capacity lies with the manager, however, the manager pays more attention to the social needs and morals of the worker. The leader may listen to their views, opinions, and feedback of the employees. The paternal leadership style may motivate the employee loyalty at times, but it still suffers from the demerits of an autocrat. Second is the consultative management style. It is an autocratic leadership style, but the feedback from the employees is encouraged to maintain the morale. Leaders take decisions into the best interest of the employees as well as the businesses. This style can be highly disadvantageous when it stimulates loyalty from the employees, resulting in a lower labor turnover. It suffers from disadvantages of an autocratic style, such as employees becoming dependent on the leader. However, the consultative approach helps to minimize the conflict between the employees and authorizes them to set standards to improve the job performance. Persuasive leadership style. In this type of leadership, the leader spends more time working with the subordinates and tries to convince them regarding the benefits of the decision. This is an autocratic style, and the manager takes the ultimate decision. Democratic or the participative leadership style. The leader decentralizes the authority and power. The leader respects the suggestions and feedback provided by the subordinates. Democratic and participative leadership style. Democratic or participative leadership style is the almost opposite of autocratic leadership style. The decisions are taken by the agreement of a majority. Here, the communication is widespread in both the directions, that is, from the employees to the leaders and vice versa. This style can be particularly useful when complex decisions require a range of specialist skills. With democratic leadership styles, job satisfaction and quality of work will improve, the participatory contribution from the subordinates which will be higher. However, the decision making process can be slowed down. The need for consensus may avoid taking the best decision for the business. Another type of the leadership style is the free rein or the laissez-faire leadership style. In the free rein or the laissez-faire leadership style, the subordinates are given full freedom to do the work. They set their own goals, take decisions to achieve the goals. The managers give full powers and authority to the subordinates to frame their own plans, procedures and decisions. There is less intervention on the part of the manager. He performs more like a mentor. So with this understanding of the leadership styles, students, now let us try to understand the leadership style of Japan. The personnel and the human resource management practices of Japanese companies are mainly oriented towards people and their development. Leaders in Japan generally follow paternalistic leadership style. Paternalistic leadership style is an autocratic leadership style wherein the ultimate decision making capacity lies with the leader. However, the leader pays more attention to the social needs and welfare of the workers. The leader may listen to the views, opinions and feedback of the employees. The Japanese leaders tries to make the environment as asperite de corps, that is, union is strength. They would avoid arguments and disagreement with employees in order to maintain a harmony in an organization. In order to achieve these objectives, it is expected from all the employees that they will subordinate their individual and personal interests for the interests of the group and the organization. As far as communication is concerned, there is a two-way communication, both top-down and down-top, which exists in the Japanese leadership style. Here, Japanese leaders want to have a direct and unambiguous communication with their subordinates. They prefer face-to-face communication with the employees. Instead of sending orders and memos, they like to spend good time communicating with the subordinates. The employees in Japanese companies are hired for lifetime. The lifetime employment system basically means recruitment of the people just graduated and offering them the employment till their retirement age. The system is oriented towards human relations, human development, training, guaranteed employment, equality, participation and welfare. Promotions in Japanese companies are generally on seniority basis, due to which the pace of promotions in Japanese companies is slow. It does not mean that the promotion doesn't take into account the performance evaluation and qualification of the employees. Higher weightage is given to a senior person or on the basis of the number of years that he or she has worked with the company. Students, there is free rein or laissez-faire leadership style, wherein the subordinates are given full freedom to do their work. Features of leadership style in US companies. Students, in US companies, the leaderships exhibit a very distinctive feature. Firstly, it's the decision maker. Leaders in US companies act as decision maker as the head of the group. They are accountable for their decisions. Aggressive and confident. US leaders are generally aggressive, optimistic and confident. Flexible. US leaders are flexible and they change as per the changing conditions. Goal oriented. US leaders are goal or action oriented. They are firm and determined. Participative. US leaders generally invite feedback from their subordinates and also encourage them to contribute their opinions and views to various discussions. Directive. Leaders in US companies adopt directive style. They give directions to the actions of their subordinates. Individualistic. Although US leaders integrate different values of subordinates and the organizations, but they prefer individualism. Communication. Communication in US companies flows generally from top to down through proper hierarchy, and most of the communication in the organizations is in the written form. Confrontations. US leaders may face confrontations with their subordinates. If the subordinates do not agree with their decisions or actions, this generally leads to the frustrations amongst the leaders and the subordinates. Team orientation. Effective leaders build successful teams by properly establishing roles and responsibilities of the members of the group. US leaders use this style only when they believe that their subordinates are experienced enough to fulfill their expectations. Students, let us try to understand the difference in the Japanese versus US leadership styles. The differences can be studied on various bases. Let us try to study different bases and how the Japanese leadership style differs from the US leadership style. As we have said earlier, the employment, Japanese leadership style has got the system of lifetime employment and there are very rare layoffs, whereas in US generally it's a short-term employment and layoffs are a common feature. In terms of promotion and evaluation, promotions are very slow in the Japanese leadership style, whereas in US the promotions are fast and they are based purely on merit and performance. Career paths. Japanese leadership styles usually have got a very general and people rotate from one field to another field and become familiar with all areas of operation, whereas in the US very specialized kind of the experience is there and people tend to stay in one area in the entire career. Leadership style. Japanese leadership style is primarily paternalistic, whereas US leadership style is directive. Approach of leaders. Japanese leaders act as social facilitators and as a member of the group, whereas in US the leader acts as a head of a group and a decision maker. Decision making. In Japanese leadership style, decision making is through group decision making, whereas in US it is done by the individual leaders. Confrontation. In Japanese, more emphasis is on harmony and so there is avoidance of a confrontation, whereas in US there are face-to-face confrontations which are quite common. Control mechanisms. Implied and informal, whereas in US they are explicit and rely on what to control and how to control. Responsibility in Japanese leadership is shared collectively, whereas in US it is assigned individually. Communication in Japanese is both-way communication, that is top-down and bottom-up, and it also includes informal communication, whereas in US it is generally top-down communication from more formal and written form. Concern for employees. In the Japanese leadership style, it's a whole life concern for the employees, both social and work, whereas in US it is only the work life of an individual that matters. Working hours. In Japanese leadership style, there are long working hours, whereas in US there are short working hours. Problem solving. In Japanese system, there is focus on the problem, whereas in US there is focus on the opportunities. And the thinking approach in the Japanese is ethnocentric, while the thinking approach in American leadership style is global. As from the above discussion, we find that there are a lot of differences in the leadership styles of US and Japan. The debate often arises which leadership style is more successful out of the two and which should be applied in the organizations. Arguments in favor of Japanese leadership styles. In 1970s, the US economy declined, but Japanese economy survived with a high growth rate due to effective management. Japanese companies are well known for their management style with high quality standards and having most advanced technologies. On the other hand, American companies are best known for their markets. They are successful in markets, make more profits, and also grow faster than the other companies in other countries. Corporate social responsibility. In Japanese companies, there is more corporate social responsibility as compared to Americans in the terms of job security and health issues. Japanese companies care for both work and social environment of the employees. On the other hand, American companies are not as good as Japanese companies in the areas of job security, health issues, etc., due to the different social norms about Japan. Japanese companies believe in collective approach. Every individual contributes to the society as a whole, while American companies believe in the individualistic approach. They satisfy themselves first and then come to the society. In Japanese companies, all employees are like a family. Employees are employed for the lifetime. They are more loyal to the company, while American companies don't offer such kind of a job security to the employees. Hence, employees don't feel loyalty towards the company. As far as hiring of employees is concerned, differences arise between American and Japanese management styles. When a Japanese company hires a new employee, they select one who is active, cheerful, and is willing to commit himself to the company, while American companies hire people on the basis of their education and skills. In Japanese companies, the projects are team projects and all have same responsibilities, while in American companies, only team leader is responsible for the project. Japanese managers ensure harmony and equity among the team members, while also supporting criticism among them. On the other hand, American managers do not prefer group harmony and no attention is given to direct criticism. Rewards or punishments are awarded on the basis of their performances. Japanese companies usually rotate their leaders on a regular basis so that they can experience all kinds of jobs, while Americans work on specialization basis. Also, long working hours are expected from the Japanese as compared to the Americans. Japanese leaders focus more on the problems. While solving the problems, they seek information regarding the problems as far as possible. The leaders analyze the information and many alternatives are found out which may further be analyzed to take future action, whereas American leaders focus on taking action on the basis of limited alternatives. They seek only high quality and limited information. The Japanese leaders allow poor performance to continue for a time in order to make the people learn from their mistakes. On the other hand, American leaders do not allow poor performance to continue for a very long time. They would also like to stop poor performance as early as possible. Japanese leaders develop creative approaches to manage the projects and rely less on the experience, whereas Americans rely more on the experience. Japanese leaders tend to be more ethnocentric. That is, they think themselves as Japanese managers, even though they are operating in different countries, due to which they do not adopt according to the host country's leadership style, and they do their activities in the Japanese way. They do not think themselves as the international managers, whereas the Americans adopt a global approach. They adapt themselves as international managers. Hence, Japanese leadership style is an important key for a successful company in comparison to the American leadership style. However, it doesn't mean that Japanese leadership style is free from the limitations. They can be improvised by learning and adopting some style from the American leadership styles. Arguments against Japanese leadership style. Although Japanese leadership style is supposed to be superior, but not all the dimensions of Japanese leadership style are getting better than American style. Japanese practices regarding employees' recruitment and promotions are not free from flaws. The employees are recruited for lifetime. They cannot apply in other companies or the companies in other countries for their betterment. In case of a group or team project, the whole team stands responsible for its performance. But in this case, even those who are not at a fault, if something goes wrong, could be criticized and punished. In Japanese companies, employees are transferred in different departments after every 2 or 3 years in order to enhance their knowledge and experience. However, during the short duration of time, they will not be able to become experts or specialized in these different practices. While in the American companies, employees are recruited and placed on the basis of their specialization and expertise. In Japanese companies, decisions are taken by consulting all the concerned, while American leaders take decisions individually, and to some extent that saves the time also. The focus of Americans is on growth of companies in terms of profit and market share. They rely more on experience, skills and specializations of the employees. They are successful in market, are making more profits, and are also growing faster than other companies which are there in other countries. Japanese leaders tend to be more ethnocentric. They think themselves as Japanese managers, even though operating in other countries, due to which they do not adopt according to the host country's leadership styles. And they keep on doing their activities the way they do it in Japan. They do not think themselves as international managers, whereas Americans adopt themselves to the global approach. They adopt themselves as international managers. So students, I would like to summarize what we have discussed in this module. We have discussed that leadership is a most effective method of motivating people in the organizations. Through effective leadership, managers guide and influence the actions of an employee. Leaders help to achieve a group its goals through maximum utilization of the capabilities. There are different techniques or styles of leadership which are adopted by the managers to control over the employees for the decision making process. The three major categories of leadership styles can be grouped into autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire. In different countries, leaders adopt different styles, keeping in view the different cultures. A lot of difference in the leadership styles of US and Japanese leaders can be found on the basis of various dimensions. As far as employees are concerned, decision-making processes, corporate social responsibility approaches are concerned, Japanese leadership style performs better than the American one. However, there are still some flaws in the Japanese style, like no opportunity to the employees to apply in other companies, promotions on seniority basis, and delays in the decision making, lack of specialization, etc. Japanese can learn a few things from Americans. However, Americans also need to learn a few things from the Japanese. In this way, Japanese leadership style is an important way for a successful company in comparison to the American leadership style. However, the Japanese systems can be improvised by learning and adapting some of the approaches from the American styles. Thank you.